Welcome back, everyone. In this short video lesson, we're going to cover the basic operation of this drill press right here, and we're going to drill a hole in this block of aluminum. First things first, we want to make sure we've got safety glasses on and no entanglement hazards from your fingertips to your elbows. This will be your first introduction on how to drill into metal. So let's go ahead and get started. So here we have our other drill press. This drill press is slightly smaller and runs in a higher gear ratio, which translates to a faster spindle speed. Up top here, on-off switch, much like the other drill press, very similar anatomy. Above that is our spindle speed adjustment handle wheel. And then we have our quill feed, which controls the plunge of the chuck down below. We're on the other side. Another work light in case you need a little more light in your workspace. And behind that, our handy retractable chuck key, super convenient. On our table right now is a standard machine vise, which we're going to use. On the other table here, we have an assortment of clamping tools, as well as our drills, and below that, another set of vices that you can use. So that's the drill press. So in today's lesson, we're going to be drilling into a block of aluminum here onto one of those marks. And if you've never drilled into aluminum, it's a little different than wood. So we're going to cover the step-by-step process. When we're drilling into metals, we're going to need to use a center drill to give us a small pilot hole that the drill can feed into. If we don't do that, the drill might deflect, causing a crooked hole or a broken drill. So that is a center drill right there, 1/2 inch diameter. We're going to use that one. And you want to choose a center drill that about matches the drill that you want to use when you're drilling. So this is a 1/2 inch diameter hole we're drilling. So in this case, we're going to use the largest center drill, and you can see it matches up perfectly. So let's go ahead and we'll put our center drill in the chuck. Just like we did with the hole saw, we're going to open the chuck and we're going to place the center drill into the chuck. Tighten it up by hand first. Then we'll take our chuck key and tighten it up. Again, just about 1/4 to 1/2 turn, just enough to snug it up. We're going to be using a standard drill press vise. This little guy is really nice. It allows us to clamp most square pieces simply and effectively. So we'll place our material in the vise, tighten it up. Now you might think you're good to go as the part is secure in the vise, but the vise is not clamped to the table. So we need to figure out how to clamp that to the table. You might notice that our part is clamped directly to the bed of the vise. So we want to make sure we're not going to drill into the vise, so we can raise it up a little bit to prevent that. So we'll grab what are called parallels, and these are going to hold the part above the vise. And while we're over here at the table, let's grab a strap clamp, and that is going to clamp our vise directly onto the table so that it does not move when we're cutting. To install the parallels, simply place them on the bed of the vise, place your part on top of those, and then you can snug up your vise. To install the clamp, simply feed the shaft through the slot on the table, place the strap clamp over the shaft, and attach the nut on top of the threads. Now that the clamp is set up, we can use either side of the clamp to clamp the vise to the table. It's up to the user and the application. To position our vise on the table so that we drill correctly, we can slide the vise around or the part around. So we'll actually lower the quill here with our center drill installed, and that will allow us to line up our hole with our X. So we'll position our vise with our center drill, modifying it as needed. Then we'll tighten up our vise first. From there, let's go ahead and grab our wrench, and using that wrench, we can simply tighten up our vise directly to the table, and that's going to keep everything nice and tight. That way your part's not going to move and you won't get any rattling in your drill. And we're good to go. So we're almost ready to drill, but first we need to use some cutting fluid, and in this case we're going to use coconut oil. So we want to brush a little bit of that on the part itself as well as the actual drill. This is going to lubricate the cut and make sure that chips don't stick to the drill. Let's go ahead and turn on our spindle. We can start the process of drilling. So we're going to want to use that same peck drilling strategy where we go in and out of the material a little bit at a time, preventing the drill from clogging. So you're actually going to want to apply a little bit more pressure than you might think. A lot of times students don't apply enough pressure, and that causes the drill to rub instead of cutting. Go ahead and turn off our spindle. We'll bring our quill up. And we're going to want to wait for that spindle to stop spinning completely before handling. So we'll take out our center drill, simply loosening the chuck, and pull out the center drill. Let's take a look at our center drilled hole here. You can see a nice conical shape there. We'll grab our drill bit and place it in the drill chuck, just like with the center drill, tightening by hand first, and then using our chuck key, half turn, just to snug it up. And just like before, we're going to want to use an ample supply of cutting fluid to the drill and the part. Let's turn on our spindle and we'll start drilling. Keep in mind we're going to use that same peck drilling method as before, only this time we're going to apply cutting fluid between each peck. That's going to keep that drill nice and lubricated. So again, you want to apply a little more pressure than you might think you need. That's going to cause these spiral chips you see to form, and that's a perfect cut. If you don't apply enough pressure, you're simply going to rub the drill and cause it to burn out. So we'll take a look and we can see we've gotten through, so we're all set. Turn off our spindle and wait for the spindle to stop completely before touching the drill. Let's remove our part and examine our hole. You can see a nice 1/2 inch diameter hole, perfectly drilled. Good work. It's time to start the cleanup process, so let's go ahead, remove our drill bit. We'll remove our clamping as well. Get our parallels out of the way, clean off our vise, remove all of the clamping from the table. And the final step is using an air gun to blow off our chips and clean up using a broom. So hopefully you found this drill press tutorial helpful, and we'll see you in the next one.